The upset and game of the weekend. Argentina Pumas beat New Zealand All Blacks 38-30. And this is my first time actually seeing the Pumas in action. And this game started off, it was slow for the first 10 minutes. There were a lot of penalties, especially from the Argentinian side. They were conceding a lot of penalties. I think it was almost every minute of that first 10 minutes of the match, there was a penalty conceded by Argentina, and I think maybe won by All Blacks. But both teams looked really fast, explosive, quick, and there was a lot of action starting the match out. Even though it was a slower pace, I think the kicking game was very solid from both sides, and Damian McKenzie was the one who started off the match putting points on the board. And the play that sort of just sticks out of my mind in that first half, in the first 14 minutes, was that absolutely gorgeous cross kick that was set up by Beauden Barrett. Damian McKenzie gets the ball to Beauden Barrett. Beauden Barrett drills it in front of the post, a beautiful cross kick. The New Zealand player, he fields it, and for the life of me, I do not know his name. We'll go to the stat line here in a little bit, but he fields the ball beautifully, gets the try, and that was just an absolutely gorgeous setup and cross kick by New Zealand. And it just looked like they were in the driver's seat at that point. But seeing the Pumas play, I think they did an exceptional job on the attacking, kicking, and the defensive side, and also the All Blacks did an exceptional job as well. This game was high-paced, a lot of great energy, amazing tackles, and both teams just went at it. Two high-caliber teams, and as I'm just sort of thinking, I'm looking at some of the players that sort of come to mind. Mark Talia, that guy is just an incredible athlete, a high-caliber, high-class player, exceptional athlete. Beauden Barrett is absolutely incredible. Pablo Matera, my first time actually seeing this man, gritty, aggressive, tough, strong, a true leader, and has a mind for the game. And the play that I really liked from Pablo Matera, and I know I'm bouncing around a little bit, but as I'm just thinking, when he got that, he set up that try, and I'll look at the minute where the minutes were. Pablo Matera at that 22nd minute, the way he was able to stay patient, he just went laterally across the field, stayed patient, and just did a quick pass inside, and that line break was beautiful. He passed it off to his man, and he took off and hit that line, and then Argentina was able to capitalize off of that, just that patience and that setup, and score that try. And it was plays like that where the game was a back and forth battle. You would have New Zealand took a big lead in the beginning, and then Argentina battled back, got back in the game, and it went back and forth after that for a while until we get to the end of the match around the 67th minute, 65th minute, somewhere around there, where Argentina got one of the first scrum of the match, and they were able to score. And it all just came down to little mistakes and errors that cost New Zealand this match. And the play that really sticks out to me was Argentina gained 50 meters without ever touching the ball with those passing errors. We had, then pass back to Damian McKenzie. It was a loss of probably 20 meters. McKenzie passes it back and misses Beauden Barrett. That was like another 20 meters. And then you had Rico Ioane recover it in the try area, and he just gets tackled. And that's what set up that 5-meter scrum. And Argentina put the ball in, dominated, and got the try. And it was those little mistakes that were very costly for the All Blacks at the end of the day. But Argentina put it on them this match, and it was very surprising to see, because I really had this going into this weekend. I had Argentina losing, I had South Africa winning. My overall standings was, I think, 1 and 2 was going to be between South Africa and New Zealand. That one's still a toss-up for me as far as what I had going into this weekend. Number 3, I had Argentina, and number 4, I had Australia, just because they're not as a solid and well-developed side at this point, and they are, they're rebuilding off of, sort of like the mess that Eddie left over there. It was just interesting to see that Argentina took the victory on this one, but they played they deserved the victory. They played a very scrappy and consistent side of rugby. I know they made a lot of penalties going into this match in the early on in the game, but they were able to put together amazing sets, and they had a lot of explosive plays. The line breaks where I think it's Carreras who took a pass on the left side. Well, it was actually a high ball. The high ball was just tapped and then he picked it up in the open field. He scooped it up, made a little move, a little inside outside cut directly to the try area or the try zone, scored. Argentina had they capitalized on a lot of mistakes and opportunities that New Zealand left on the field for him. And it's one of those matches that it was odd in a sense, because I don't think I have seen a match not have a scrum late until the 60th minute. So that was sort of odd, because usually when New Zealand they have an opportunity to scrum, they're incredibly dominant and strong, and they can really enforce their power on a team. And by not having a scrum that late into the match, they weren't able to wear down the Argentinian side and really just apply that pressure that we're used to seeing from the All Blacks. And I want to know your thoughts on that one as well, Qrew. And as always, point out any mistakes or any errors that I may overlook or maybe missing. But since New Zealand, in my mind, was not able to pressure them and put their weight on them, literally and figuratively, Argentina had that stamina by the end of the match where they were able to essentially pull away from New Zealand, and they were on the New Zealand side of the field, and especially in the second half for a large part of that match. And it's crazy because looking at the first half, the New Zealand All Blacks dominated the first half in the sense of the amount of possessions, the meters kicked, the points on the board, of course, but even the advantage of being on the Argentinian side of the field. New Zealand was dominating in that respect, and it was just interesting to see how it all played out, and it showed how scrappy that Argentinians are as a nation, and the Pumas are, man, because seeing them for the first time, they have a lot of explosive players. They're quick, they're fast, they're shifty, they're gritty and tough, and it was a fun match. It was my match of the weekend. So competitive, that back and forth aspect. And it was odd to me was just like the little mistakes. I haven't seen to this point Damian McKenzie miss a kick. He missed that straight on kick. I believe it was like a little bit over 40 meters out. It was straight on. He just missed a little bit to the left of the post, and that set up Argentina to get back in the game and then take advantage and take the lead, and eventually win the game and pull away with that last final penalty kick that they had to kick. But overall, it was an exceptional match from the Argentina side. New Zealand left points on the field because of the mistakes that they had, just uncharacteristic mistakes that I'm not used to seeing from the All Black side. And I know they're going to go into this week and clean it up and get things polished and come back out and put on a better showing. But it was different to see. This was the second big upset from Argentina in on New Zealand turf. I know they were in Wellington. Correct me if I'm wrong, Qrew. Is this their second time? The Pumas beat them in 2022 in Wellington, or was it another city within New Zealand? Let me know that detail, and because I don't want to misstate that. But I know it's the Pumas' second time making an upset victory on New Zealand turf within the past 2 years, 2022 and this year, 2024, of this rugby championship. But overall, I really enjoyed the match. It was definitely high-paced, very fast, very fluid, a lot of action, good box kicking, good kicking overall to gain advantage as far as meters. And I just really enjoyed the strategy that was going into it. And it was fun to see Argentina, how they played the match and just how creative they were. They were creative, they capitalized on opportunities, and they did what had to be done to win the game, and took advantage of the points that were given to them, or the field advantage that was given to them, I should say, and were dominant, especially in that final scrum at the 67th minute, somewhere around there, where they almost just bullied the All Blacks, and they just pushed them over the line, got the try. And it was crazy to see, because I'm not used to seeing the All Blacks get dominated in the scrum like that. So there were some different aspects and some wrinkles to the game that unfold, and that's what's so beautiful about the game of rugby, is that it can be anybody's game any day of the week. You just have to show up, and if you're having an off day, you make little mistakes and give away meters, especially with errant passes that are happening, like the two we were referencing from the All Blacks that gave that scrum away at the end of the game. You can lose the match. And so we're going to see how both sides put their game plan together this coming week. It's going to be fun to see how that all develops. I'm interested to see how the All Blacks rebound off of this loss on their home turf. It's going to be very interesting to see. But let's dive into the stats a little bit, look at the possession time, attacking, defense, and all that good stuff. So we have the final score, 38-30, and looking at the flow chart, you can see that New Zealand was leading for the better part of the game, and we get to the 40th minute, the break. And this is when Argentina started to put it on a little bit, gain advantage, and this is when it was that back and forth battle, and it just went all the way to the end. That 68th minute, the 68th minute, where Argentina took the advantage, it gets the try, and then they get the penalty goal to pull away by 8 points. But if we're looking at the time in the lead, New Zealand leads in that department 52-18. They were ahead 65% of the game compared to 23 over Argentina. This is where the last possessions were, and this is that crucial part that lost them the game. Argentina had 80% of the possession compared to New Zealand's 20 in the last 10 minutes of the match. Well, it's funny because when they scored their final try, it was at the 68th minute, so it was at the 12th, like the last 12 minutes of the match. But Argentina, they did a good job maintaining the ball and defending their position in the last 10 minutes and keeping the All Blacks on their side of the field. And so they did a good job making sure to clear their zone. And so if we're looking at the key events, we're looking at Damian McKenzie within the first 11 minutes. He scores his 3. Derry, that was that beautiful cross kick by Beauden Barrett. And I just say that setup was absolutely beautiful. Damian McKenzie to Beauden Barrett. Beauden Barrett with the precision, the touch, that finesse, and just lays the ball beautifully on that cross kick. There was a tap, Derry fields it, gets the try, and they convert it 10-0 at the 15th minute. This is when Argentina at the 22nd minute battled back, and I have in my notes that was that Pablo Matera pass where he took his time. He was delayed. He was not delayed. He was patient. He was patient and just took his time, went laterally, and waited for that line break, that line to open, passed it off, and that line break took off, and Cinti gets that try. Absolutely beautiful setup. And I just, it was just that field awareness and that IQ, which was nice to see because he wasn't rushing. He looked calm, like a true field general. And that was my first time actually ever seeing Pablo Matera play. And I can just see why he is such a well-respected name and a legend in the world of rugby and in the Argentinian program, because that generalship that he had, you could tell he has that leader mentality, and the way he was setting plays up, mapping that game, it was absolutely incredible to watch. He's a really vocal leader. He's very passionate and emotional, and I like to see that because when I think of the South American nations, the culture is real fiery, real spicy, real, passionate about their sports. And he encompasses all that, what I know and grew up with that South American culture, growing up close to the border of Mexico. And I know Argentina's way down there compared to where Mexico is, where I was close by on the border, but they still have that same mentality and that passion. So he's an incredible leader. So then when at the 26th minute, we have McKenzie getting that penalty goal, takes them to 13-5. Paredes at the 30th minute gets that score, gets the try. And at the 30th minute, that wasn't that line break I was talking about. That was a penalty goal, where Qrew gets that penalty goal. Then Leonard Brown, absolutely exceptional play. He got his second try of the match. McKenzie converts. This was that line break that I thought was absolutely beautiful. I have in my notes that Mateo Qrew has that beautiful line break. That was where he has the tap. They tap the ball. He picks it up. He makes one move on the New Zealand defender, or two moves actually, like a outside hesitation and then an inside cut, and goes directly towards the post. Beautiful play, beautiful setup, and just the pace in which he picked up that ball and took off. There was nobody that was, that could have caught him because he just had a straight line and open field in front of him. Absolutely beautiful play to take him to half. Then Argentina came out to knot the game up with that 42nd minute try by Molina. Paredes gave him the 2-point advantage. McKenzie came back and got that penalty goal, put New Zealand back in the lead. and then Qrew had that penalty goal. So there was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of penalty goals happening, and All Blacks started conceding more penalties in the second half than they did in the first half, because Argentina, they were conceding penalties left and right in the first half. And I wish I could look at the halftime stats on this one and see what the breakdown was, and if there's a way I can do that, let me know. But yeah, the All Blacks had a huge advantage in terms of possession, time, and the penalties conceded in the first half. So then we go with the Mark Talia. This guy, he's a world-class athlete, man. I really love watching Mark Talia play the game. He's an exceptional player, and he just has the speed, pace, and quickness, and the IQ is just fun to watch him play. He scores a try, McKenzie converts, and then this is where Argentina, they're 2 points behind, and that's when the drama sort of starts with them. Qrew gets that penalty goal, brings them closer, 30-28. Then we have Qrew. That was the scrum where they drove New Zealand back, and in a rare occasion, right? They bullied New Zealand in the scrum, got that try by Qrew, gave them the lead 33-30, got the conversion, and then Qrew closes it out with that 38th minute kick, or the 78th minute kick, to make it 38-30. So if we're looking at the 22-meter entry, we have the All Blacks had 4 points scored out of 6 entries, which is really good. And then the Pumas had 11 entries and got 2.1 or 2.6 average points scored. So they did take advantage of the 22-meter entry line. Both teams did, and so that's why we see the high scoring game that we saw today. And it's just really, to me, it was just a really exciting match. High powered, high paced, great energy, very explosive from the attacking and defensive side, and even from the kicking side, it was a lot of fun to watch. Looking at the 22-meter entries, we have 11-6. Pumas have that advantage. And for these next 4 categories, the All Blacks have the advantage. 4 22-meter conversions. 22-meter conversions, 4 for New Zealand, 2.64 for Argentina. Line breaks, 6-5. 126 carries to 102 carries, All Blacks. 23 kicks to 22 kicks. They're very close in that department. All Blacks win in that advantage. And then post-contact meters, 253 to 230, and Argentina has that advantage. And I think they both were really evenly matched in this game. It just came down to those little mistakes that were made by New Zealand in the end, by just giving away that 50-meter of passing, and those those bad passes, which gave Argentina the opportunity to capitalize and score. And that was like the story of the game that gave it away for the All Blacks for me. And there was a lot of little things that were happening, but to me that was like one of the standout plays that made the match swing in Argentina's favor for that final score. So if we're going to the defensive profile, take a look. Argentina won every category except for tackle turnovers, where they tied. So dominant tackles, 14-10. Tackles made, 159 to 135. Tackles missed, 21-18. Turnovers won, 7-5. And both teams did an exceptional job at the turnovers. I know there was one where Pablo was called, where McKenzie was able to convert the penalty goal, where Pablo went for the ball, but his hands were so far in front of the ball, and they said he was leaning on his elbows, so it didn't show that he had possession of the ball. So he conceded a penalty, and I think it could have gone either way, because I thought he had the ball and got the turnover, but it went in the All Blacks' favor. But there was the point in the game where Matera, he did get the turnover, so he was a very, very good jackal and getting the ball out and creating turnovers. And also Artie Savia, incredible. He was amazing at creating turnovers in this match today, and I do still have to do a video on him, but they were both exceptional at creating turnovers. Very good defensive battle from both sides, even though there was not a lot of scrums in this match. I think 3 or 4 total, and correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And tackle turnovers, 3 for 3 and 3, they're tied on that one. Tackle offloads allowed, crazy. Argentina allowed 20 compared to the 2 that New Zealand allowed. That's nuts to see. Looking at the ruck speed, 0-3, 53% to 39%. All Blacks won that advantage. 33 to 52% within the 3 to 6 second ruck speed, that goes to Argentina. And then 8% to 4% for the 6+ seconds. So 89 to 74, the All Blacks win the advantage as far as ruck speed. They were getting the ball out quick, and I really like the pace of this game. And in the last 5 penalties, all 4 out of the 5 went to New Zealand. And I'm just going to go up to the stats and take a look at this really fast and see as far as territory, because that was an interesting stat of the game. So 52% of the territory compared to 48, the All Blacks had the advantage in that respect. And even looking at the possession time, 80% in the last 10 minutes, that's a huge storyline right there. And 55% possession to 45%. New Zealand won that advantage on possession for the entire match. And let me go to these are just the set plays, the restarts one. It's pretty much everything that we saw. Okay, so there was 4 scrums total, and dang, Argentina won all 4 scrums. Wow, I did not even realize that. Out of the 4 scrums that were in this match, Argentina won all 4. That's odd. That's crazy to see, because I'm used to seeing New Zealand with their powerful scrum and their forwards win those, and they weren't able to win any of them. That's wild. Okay, so the 100% of the scrums won by Argentina. The lineouts they had some really great lineouts, some really creative and cool lineouts. And that lineout by as I'm looking at this set play, that lineout for Argentina to score one of their tries, where they faked the lift. He threw it straight direct to the man in front of him, and he just takes off straight to the try line and caught New Zealand on their heels. That creativity and that quick heads up play for that line out for Argentina was really cool to see, because it was fast, it was fluid, it was creative, and it really caught New Zealand on their heels for that initial line out try for Argentina. So that was a cool play that just came to my mind right now, and it was cool to see how they executed that one. But overall, it was a fun match to watch. Game of the weekend. It's going to be fun to see how New Zealand's going to bounce back from this one, what they're going to do as far as, structuring the starting 15. Are they going to mix things up? Or are they going to keep it the same? And I just really think they're just going to come out and work on the mistake-free rugby that we're used to seeing from the All Blacks. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes. But Argentina did an exceptional job. They showed up and they showed out, and they deserved the victory today, because they took advantage of those little opportunities, those possessions that they were given, and dominated the scrums 4-0. That is just a crazy stat to see right there. Overall, I really enjoyed this match. It's fun start to round 1 of the Rugby Championship. This was my game of the weekend. South Africa and Australia was a blowout, but this one was a tightly contested match. So and I think New Zealand missed bonus point this one as well, which is another thing another stat line that we're gonna follow as this championship or these rounds progress. But it's still anybody's tournament, right? We're only week 1. There's a lot of rugby to be played. There is a lot of lineouts and things that have lineups that can be shifted, and players and pieces and strategies that have to come together. So it's going to be interesting to watch as we continue from week to week and go forward with this rugby championship. And it's my first time actually this year watching the rugby championship, being exposed to the Australians 15 side, being exposed to the Argentinian 15 side. Absolutely fun to watch and be a part of this with you, Qrew. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What was your thoughts on this game, and what adjustments do you think that New Zealand's going to make to get back on the saddle and get back on the horse? And how do you think Argentina's going to adjust coming off of this emotional high of beating New Zealand? Do you think they're going to go 2-0, or do you think they're going to split in this series? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, drop in our descriptions below. We have our QSN Discord, offline rugby pub. We talk life, family, share pictures, photos, just talk about anything, get to know each other closer, build our relationships and friendships together in an offline setting, Qrew. So drop in there and say what's up. And I appreciate you always being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will catch you on the next video, Qrew. I love you. I appreciate you. Always stay laser focused on your dreams and your vision. And remember that you're in control. Love you. Peace.